Hello, citizens of Geekville. This is Seth, aka Xandrax, the mayor of Geekville and the host of Geekville Radio. Today we are diving into episode 5 of Maul Shadow Lord, titled Inquisition. Before we get into the spoilers, let me set the stage. The previous episode ended on one heck of a cliffhanger, an Imperial Star Destroyer arriving over the city. And if you're thinking, wait, don't those things usually just hang out in space and look intimidating from orbit? You're absolutely right. It is genuinely unusual for a Star Destroyer to go planetside. These ships are literally a mile long. A mile. That's not a vessel entering an atmosphere, that's a crisis. You don't pull that thing out of hyperspace over your city unless you mean serious business. We've seen it done before, most notably in Rogue One, where the sheer visual of that hull filling the sky was enough to make your stomach drop. Same energy here. What I also love is how most of the other ships on screen are vessels we already recognize from the Clone Wars, and that makes total sense. It's only been about a year since the events of Revenge of the Sith. The Empire is brand new. They're not exactly rolling out fresh hardware on day one. They're still flying the same ships the Republic used, just with a fresh coat of authoritarian paint. Though I will say, the Star Destroyers look noticeably different from the old Republic Star Destroyers, which raises the question, how long does it take to build one of those things? Apparently not very long, because the Empire clearly fast-tracked that procurement order. Now this episode gives us something a lot of us were expecting. The Inquisitors. Well, one of them anyway. And if you're new to Star Wars lore, let me give you a little background, because these guys have a history that goes way back. The concept of a group of dark side force users helping Darth Vader hunt down surviving Jedi actually dates all the way back to the old West End Games tabletop RPG from the late 80s and 90s. Shout out to everyone who remembers rolling handfuls of D6 dice and desperately hoping your Jedi didn't get caught. They later appeared in the Old Republic video game before officially becoming part of the new canon in the Rebels animated series. As for their real-world inspiration, yes, they were modeled after the Spanish Inquisition. The actual historical one, not the Monty Python sketch. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition, as the saying goes, but the real version was no laughing matter. It was a brutal instrument of oppression, which, honestly, fits the Galactic Empire perfectly. A couple more non-spoiler notes before we dive in. This episode has several callbacks to the movies that we'll get into shortly. Riley Lawson gets more screen time here than in the previous 4 episodes combined, which tells you the show is finally pulling him into the main story in a serious way. And then there's Two Boots, everybody's favorite droid coffee enthusiast, who is, as of this episode, literally the only cop in the building who is happy that the Empire has arrived, which honestly tracks. Some people just really love law and order, even when the law is wearing white armor and answering to a Sith Lord. Okay, spoilers start now. You have been warned.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler hole has been breached! Spoiler hole has been breached!
The episode opens with the Imperial Star Destroyer looming over the city of Janix. Now, here's a small continuity wrinkle. In the previous episode, it looked like the ship arrived at night, but in this episode's opening, it's daytime. Did it sweep by, leave, and come back? Did time pass off screen? We're not sure, but I'm choosing to believe the Star Destroyer just wanted a more dramatic entrance in better lighting. Can't blame it. From the destroyer, several craft are deployed across the city in a sequence that immediately brought to mind the opening of The Empire Strikes Back, where probe droids are launched across the galaxy. Same feeling of dread, same sense of Imperial reach. The Empire doesn't just show up, it spreads, and just like that, the entire city, if not the whole planet, goes into lockdown. We cut to Riley Lawson, who is in the middle of a shockball game when the Star Destroyer's shadow rolls over him. Now, sharp-eyed viewers will remember Riley was also playing shockball 2 episodes ago when his dad, Captain Lawson, showed up, which raises a very reasonable question. How long do these games actually last? Is this the same game? Is Riley perpetually mid-game? Or is he maybe a professional shockball player and this is just another Tuesday? I need answers. Out in the streets, stormtroopers are everywhere, demanding identification from everyone they encounter. And this is where we're introduced to Lieutenant Blake, who is clearly going to be a significant player going forward. More on him in a bit. Meanwhile, back in what I can only describe as the Maul cave, Rook is making the very sensible suggestion that they should get off the planet. Maul, being Maul, refuses. He still needs Devon as his apprentice, and Maul does not abandon his plans just because a mile-long warship is overhead. That's practically a Tuesday for him. We also get a scene with Vario, the crime lord, who is not happy about the Imperial presence, mostly because all ships are grounded, which is terrible for his business. Maul's response is essentially, feel free to leave, which is interesting, because Vario did double-cross Maul earlier in the series, and yet Maul is letting him walk. Is that mercy? Probably not. Maul likely knows that Vario won't last 5 minutes in an Empire-controlled galaxy on his own, which is a far colder form of revenge than anything involving a lightsaber. Back at the precinct, and I want you to fully appreciate this moment, Two Boots rolls up to Captain Lawson and hands him a cup of coffee, just like that, even after Lawson deactivated him earlier in the series. Droids, it turns out, do not hold grudges, especially when there is coffee involved. Two Boots is practically beaming about the Empire's arrival, because in his droid logic, this is exactly the kind of decisive law enforcement action the city needed. Lawson, of course, tells him he just doesn't understand. Two Boots responds the only way he knows how, by keeping that mug warm. And as if the universe itself heard that and decided to make a point, stormtroopers immediately walk in and apprehend Lawson for interrogation. Lieutenant Blake informs him in that clipped Imperial tone that Chief Kryse has been transferred, permanently, which is Imperial speak for something very bad happened to her, and the implication is that Kryse tried to cover for Lawson, even under pressure. The hits just keep coming. In the interrogation room, Lawson notices scratch marks on the table. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't have to. We all know what that means, and it is not good. Then Marrok, an Inquisitor, appears behind him and demands that Lawson tell him everything. Classic Inquisitor entrance. No knocking, no pleasantries, just the force and menace. Meanwhile, Riley heads to the precinct to try to see his dad. The Empire turns him away at the door, and Two Boots politely informs him that his father is being interrogated and that he should go home. Standard procedure, Riley. Nothing to worry about. The Empire is very thorough. Out in the city, Daki and Devon run into a stormtrooper checkpoint. Daki does what any Jedi in a tight spot would do. He uses the Jedi mind trick, calmly informing the trooper that he's already seen their identification. It's a direct mirror of that iconic scene in A New Hope, where Obi-Wan Kenobi waves his hand and tells the stormtroopers these aren't the droids they're looking for. It's a great callback. Unfortunately, it doesn't work quite as well this time, because there are just too many stormtroopers. You can't mind trick a whole squad, so they run. Riley reaches out to his mother, who tells him to cooperate and assures him everything will be all right, which is either genuine reassurance or a carefully worded hint that she's already working on something. We're not sure yet. And then Marrok arrives at the Maul cave. Through what seems to be a force-assisted deduction, he pieces together what happened during the earlier firefight between Maul's crew and the police. He's putting the picture together. That is not a good development for anyone involved. Lawson is eventually released, and true to form, the very first thing this man does is go straight for the coffee. At this point, I am convinced that the coffee is actually load-bearing for this character. It is structural. He runs on it. It is to Lawson what the Force is to a Jedi. He goes home and finds Devon and Daki there, sheltering with his son Riley. The circle is now complete. All right, let's talk predictions. First, Riley. He's being set up as a mirror image of Devon. Devon seems to be drifting toward the dark side, while Riley is clearly being positioned as someone who will stand against the Empire. I wouldn't be surprised if down the road we see Riley become an early seed of what will eventually grow into the Rebel Alliance. The Force works in generational ways like that. Two Boots is going to have a reckoning. He welcomed the Empire. He thought it was the right call. And he is going to see firsthand what that actually means. The interesting wrinkle is that droids don't experience emotions the way we do. So how does a droid process being catastrophically wrong about something? Especially one who has been fueling that optimism with bottomless cups of caf. That is a character beat I am very much here for. I've said before that I think Devon will eventually kill Master Daki. I'm standing by that. But now I'm also seeing Lawson as the one who ultimately confronts Lieutenant Blake. Think about it. Lawson is law enforcement, Blake is law enforcement. They're on opposite sides of a line that used to not exist. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Someone very wise once said that. Chief Kryse is almost certainly imprisoned, and may not survive it, and Lawson is going to carry that. She went down trying to protect him, and that is the kind of guilt that changes a person. Speaking of Lawson, at this point he is a full-blown fugitive. He's harboring Jedi. He's obstructing Imperial investigations. There is no quiet way out of this. He's going to have to leave Janix with Daki and Devon, whether he wants to or not. I hope someone packs a thermos. And finally, why was Lawson released? Did his story just check out? Or did his ex-wife make a call? And if she did, was it to protect him or to protect their son? Because those are two very different motivations with very different implications. That's episode 5 of Maul Shadow Lord. A lot is moving, a lot is building, and Two Boots is still out here with his coffee, blissfully unaware that the galaxy is about to get a lot darker. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of my predictions in the comments below. I am shutting down the power. May the Force be with you.